Yeah, here we go again. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of New York by Night. And this night we're going towards the Bronx, or actually, I should probably say not this night, but this late afternoon. And as we find ourselves in the Bronx, we see Lily. Uh, she is actually, as she was on her way to Fitzroy Manor, she just got out of that car. She felt something in the air that just she wouldn't say that it felt not right because it actually felt too right. It was like this was something, a feeling that vibrated within her body that she had not felt before, or at least not since a long time. She actually leaves Marcus just standing there as they arrive at Fitzroy Manor. She just leaves him there. She's not even bothering with any more than an explanation of, look, thank you, but there's something I have to find out now. I'll get back at you quickly, I hope. And she just runs off, and she's a very, very good runner. So even on slippers and not really dressed for long distance running, she makes quite some haste as she just seems to follow this feeling that just becomes stronger and stronger. It's like a fresh wind that blows within the Bronx. It's no one else appears to be feeling. For her, it's like a cool breeze that just lures her to a place that she still has to find out. So she follows this mysterious wind and finally finds herself at the front gates of the Bronx Zoo. And she frowns because, well, she didn't expect to end here. She just looks around if she can actually locate where this wind is coming from. It's almost painful at this point to feel.
The various tourists and guests of the that are walking around the zoo paths are starting to wind down. The zoo closes just before dark, and it's about 2 hours away from that. So they'll probably be kicked out in the next 45 minutes to an hour. So the crowd is not quite as thick as it normally is on a warm day like this. As the time continues on, Lily will find herself moving between people, going between the various places, past the atrium where she had once met an individual that she found quite amusing, to a place that overlooked the botanical gardens, and finally she'll find herself near the tiger's cage. And it seems that this pleasant wind, this feeling of tranquility, however somewhat muted to what she's used to, seems to emanate from there. And as she hones in on it more and more, she'll see an individual just sitting there, a very blank look on their face, kind of half leaning over themselves, and just sitting there, staring silently, letting the world pass them by.
Lily, as Lily follows the track, she actually, for the first time, at least today, but maybe since a little bit longer, she doesn't quite know how long she had been in kitty shape. She um, she almost feels hopeful as she has the feeling that she recognizes this and the feeling that she should see someone, a redhead. She looks around and anxiously trying to find that source, and as her eyes settle upon the dark-haired female that's sitting there looking lost, she just frowns. It doesn't add up. Definitely not, but that's where it comes from. And doesn't really make sense to her yet, so she's unsure what to do now. She just stands there for a while, just looking, not coming any closer, actually trying to keep a little bit out of sight, because she just wonders, what is this person doing here, and why does he feel so familiar?
The 45 minutes pass, and the eyes remain unblinking. The body just remains almost motionless, just sitting there, staring blankly. And doesn't make any move until one of the zoo's security guards comes to this individual and kind of taps her on the shoulder, and there's almost no response until finally these eyes that just speak of being completely and totally running almost on instinct just kind of look up at the guard, and when they do, they catch the light ever so slightly, and Lily will be able to see the golden hue of the irises as the guard almost doesn't yank her to her feet, but pulls her up somewhat, as this woman does look somewhat disheveled. And the guard seems to possibly think that this might be a vagrant, someone looking for a place to stay, and thus wants her out. He's not being rough with her, but he's not exactly being gentle when he pulls her to her feet.
Lily, at this point, she's still not quite sure, but after waiting for so long, just watching, she's pretty damn sure that whatever she's feeling is coming from that person, that for her yet unknown, yet it's unknown but so well-known person there. She just frowns as she realizes that she is so confused. It just doesn't add up to what she expected. She knows that this person would never, ever just change like that. Or at least not without a damn good reason, so something must have happened. But she has to do something now, and she just walks up to the guard, tapping him on the shoulder as well, and she's like, she's with me.
Well, you know it's getting close to after hours. You two need to leave.
I'm sorry, I was here on a school project, healthcare, Tiger specifically. Lily actually will go through the length of showing her student's card for Fordham University. I am afraid that I left my little sister. Yeah, she's not. There's no way that this is her sister, but she just has to say something. I left her too long alone. I'm terribly sorry. I will take her with me right now.
The guard kind of raises a brow at sister, and he'll actually look between this person with brown hair and freckles, and then look to the rather Asian woman, and just kind of shrugs it off. He wants to get out of here just as quickly as he can, so he just says, oh, okay, well, you two have a nice day, and he walks off, leaving this person just standing there. And she doesn't even seem to be looking directly at Lily at the moment, just still kind of staring blankly.
So Lily is standing there, and she's just looking at this new woman. No idea, but she has to do something, so she just takes the hand of this woman and just whispers in her ear, just walk with me. And she actually probably half pulls her out of the zoo.
She doesn't need much in the way of coaxing. She seems to almost follow, and as they're walking along, Lily will hear the kind of clinking of jewelry. And if Lily wants to look, she can look.
Oh, why not?
You don't even have to roll for it. It's not like it's being hidden.
Okay.
Should
not really directly look, by the way, just sideways glances, as for now she's like, she doesn't really know what to do with this.
What she sees is the pendant of the pentagram that a certain firecracker had been wearing for quite a while before they left New York, as well as a little pendant of an angel that the firecracker also wore before they disappeared from New York.
Mm-hmm. Lily notices, and her eyes just with they grow wide for barely a second, as this is actually confirming what she had been expecting. But for now, she needs to find a secure place where they can actually just talk. And she doesn't want to go back to the university just now. She, after what happened, after the time she spent there, she's a bit reluctant to go to her dormitory. She just doesn't want to be confronted with her feelings for Josh, which she's firmly putting aside at this point. It's just like she can't get herself distracted. So instead, once they're out of the zoo, they will walk a bit further into the park until they reach a very big oak tree. There's a bench underneath it, and it's a little bit out of the way. It's not on the main tracks, so there aren't a lot of other people around at this time, especially not since it's going towards dinner time. She just looks at this woman again, confused, and she's like, "Hi, would you mind sitting down for a bit?"
She'll turn that golden gaze towards Lily for a moment, and it's just she seems to just go with the flow, and she actually sits down. And oddly enough, her hand never leaves Lily's. In fact, since the point that she took it, it almost seems like she tensed and then melded into it very quickly.
As Lily realizes that, but also can tell that this person does definitely not recognize her, Lily really has to swallow something. She swallows a few times and then sits down next to this woman, not leaving her hand. She just asks, "Why are you here?"
It takes a few moments for the woman to respond, and she just looks up at the buildings in the distance of the university and just kind of lets out a sigh. It's home, I think.
Is there anything that you... What happened? No. Okay. Because Lily actually just wants to shake this woman, take her by the shoulders and shake her into becoming that person that she knows. But she can't. It's just not there. And she can see that plain as daylight. So she sighs. "Okay, what's your name?"
And she blinks a few times and continues to stare off before finally pulling the dark forest green backpack around and reaches into it and pulls out a rather worn passport and just hands it over to Lily.
Lily opens it, looks into the passport.
She'll see a name in there, Regina Summersley.
Okay, Regina.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. She closes the passport again and hands it back. Um, she does not yet let go of Regina's hand. She just looks and she says, "Is there anything else you remember? Is there anything you know? Because I have the feeling I know you, but I don't recognize you."
She blinks a few more times before finally looking directly at Lily, and I was in Budapest. I don't remember why, but I was there. I remember being cold and alone, and then there was light again, and pain, and there was a lot of shouting. And then I remember she kind of holds up her hands and looks at them, and they're dirty. I mean, dirty, and she just kind of begins to rub her hands, or rub her one hand together, rather. She hasn't let go of Lily's. She just kind of rubs her fingers together. And there was. She frowns and just doesn't continue on with that sentence. I
Okay.
remember holding these, and she puts her free hand on the two pendants. And I remember that I needed to go home.
Okay. You are home. I know who you are. Who you really are. Oh, God. I can't do this alone. Where's Josh when you need him? Fuck. I really can't do this. She just... Okay. I think I know who you are. I'm gonna whisper something in your ear. And promise me you don't say that evermore to anyone. Its name.
She just kind of looks at Lily, and her mouth slightly open. She just kind of nods vigorously, still looking rather lost, looking exhausted as well.
As you look at Lily, you can basically see the same glance of exhaustion in her eyes as well, but she tries to put up a stone-faced front. Just make sure that you don't see how much trouble this is costing her. She bows forward, holds her mouth next to your ear, and just whispering, "Zuriel."
The name being whispered just immediately causes her back to go rigid as she almost kind of snaps a little bit back into arching her back just slightly edge of the over the edge of the bench as her hands tighten, and she just kind of blinks really blankly as she gasps, and then kind of hunches over forward holding her side, and she just grips onto Lily's hand tightly as she leans over.
At that point, Lily is definitely 100% sure this was the last confirmation that she was looking for, and she just hugs Regina, just giving her a very firm hug, comforting her, stroking through her hairs, and she's like, "Okay, it's okay, it's okay. You're here."
I heard an echo, made my head hurt. It
When I mentioned that,
was
that
like
name?
a bell ringing in my head really loudly.
Okay. Just promise me don't mention it to anyone else. Okay?
She just kind of nods, still kind of doubled over, kind of rubbing the side of her head.
Okay. There's two things we can do now. I could take you somewhere where you can rest, because you look tired. You look like you've been through a lot. Or we can continue this conversation another day, tomorrow. If you want to, I can try and help you now.
It takes her about a good 2 minutes to respond before she finally just looks at Lily and continues to hang on to her hand. I don't want to be alone.
I won't leave you. Trust me, I won't leave you. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna leave you alone. Not until you are yourself again.
Every time I try to think of. She kind of looks at she picks up the passport again, and she looks at it and she kind of narrows her eyes as she looks at the picture. I know that's who I am, but the name, it doesn't have any meaning to me.
I know. I know. You do you want some answers now? I'm not sure if I can give it all because I'm not good at this, and especially not with you. But I could try.
Who was the red woman? I was laying next to her when the pain went away.
Oh, please. It takes Lily a few moments to really get herself back together again. The red-haired woman.
So, Reggie will nod.
Oh, God. Fuck. Yeah, I know her. Oh, God, how am I ever gonna explain this? Okay, first of all, first things first, Lily says as she's literally forcing away tears at this point. First things first. Your name is Regina. I know it holds no meaning to it right now. That's your name. That's how you must introduce yourself. The other thing, the thing that I whispered into your ear, that's you. It's your other self. You must not give that up to anyone. First of all, before I continue, I will tell you my name. I am Lily. But just as Regina feels empty to you, so does Lily feel for me. That name it doesn't define me. It's not who I am. I will also tell you my name because you know that. And I know that you know that name. Maybe you don't remember now, and oh God, it's like happening all over again, but the other way around. You may not remember it now, but I will give it to you. My name. You will maybe in time realize that you have known me before. She, Lily once again bows forwards until her lips almost touch Regina's ear. And she whispers her own name in Regina's ear. It's like, I'm Gorgoni. She just watches if she can see anything at all, any flicker of emotion or any recognition.
The eyes seem to they seem to brighten a bit, the irises, and she kind of inhales just a bit. Um, but as Lily continues to talk, Regina just more and more begins to lean towards her, more and more and more, until she is pretty much resting her head on Lily's shoulder. Almost as she seems to be at peace after the name Gorgani was whispered.
It's okay. Lily just wraps her free arm around Regina's shoulder and she still holds the other hand of Regina tightly, just as tightly as Regina holds Lily's. Don't tell my name to anyone. There are people who know it, there are people who don't. There are people who know your name and people who don't. For now, don't tell it. Don't tell anything. You're Regina, as I am Lily, okay?
I don't want to tell anybody anything, she says as her eyes just like close.
Okay.
Just so tired of walking.
I know, honey. Okay. Gonna take you somewhere safe. But we need to wait until it's closed. Then we go back to the place where I found you. You can rest there and we'll be safe there. Because I can't really drag you back to Fitzroy's Manor. Not like this. Just can't. Would pay too much attention. Would bring too much attention. Okay.
There's somebody hurting me, I remember. And she says this very lazily, as she just seems to be relaxing more and more and becoming more of a dead weight. I remember someone felt like someone ripped something out of me.
Okay, just close your eyes. It's okay. Tomorrow we will talk further. I will not let anyone do anything to you. You're not gonna leave me ever again. Okay? You're here now. You're safe. I'll take care of you, I promise you.
She kind of makes a few grunts as she seems to be literally falling asleep. I feel safe here.
And Lily waits until Regina is probably fast asleep. Then she just starts crying, and she tries to do it as silently as possible, with tears are just dripping out of her eyes as she realizes that she has failed. She has failed to protect Locke, Suriel. She will not fail another time. She will not fail with Regina. She will keep her safe. She waits until it's well after closing hours within the zoo. And then she will pick up Regina, lift her, hold her in her arms as she makes her way back to the zoo. Jumps over the fence, makes her way to the tiger's den. She's now she has grown so accustomed over the months. She knows exactly what route to take so that the two of them will not be noticed. She enters the tiger's den, and tigers around them will probably be a little bit uneasy with a new person, but Lily's just gonna give them some time to sniff out the scent of Regina, because Lily is
Yeah, I
there.
think I'm just gonna let her stay asleep for right now.
Yeah, you probably want to. And Lily will just until the tigers grow accustomed to her, she will just keep her steady and just allow the tigers to go their own merry way again. And then she will walk into the sleeping area of the tigers. She still has some blankets hidden there. It's like a brick that she has removed and a space behind it where she actually pulls out the blankets and she just wraps Regina into it in a way that should she wake up and Lily is for some reason not fully paying attention, that she doesn't immediately try to slap a tiger that just happens to walk by.
What?
So she's kind of making sure that Regina can definitely not do that, and then Lily will just sit there and watch as.
Does Lily want to inspect Regina at all at this point?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Unless, oh no, she will actually look for wounds. Just make sure.
If she lifts up the shirt, she'll notice that there are bandages wrapped all the way around her torso, and if she pokes under the bandages, there's blood there, but she can definitely see and probably sense the hints of faith there, but it's not nearly as dulled as any sorts of hints of any energy coming off of Regina is. This is much more powerful, and there are marks on her arms and her torso that look like someone had grabbed her very violently. And there were marks of what looked to be like healed bullet wounds and some scars that looked more like burn marks.
Hmm.
But there's definitely Locke's handiwork written all over the wounds that are healed, even though it looks sloppy.
Is there still need for the bandages?
Not at this point. Any wounds have pretty much scabbed over. I mean, there's some pretty nasty ones. But they're all scabs at this point.
Okay. In that case, as Lily does actually have medicine, she will remove the bandages and use some water to clean up a little bit. She'll do it carefully, just to make sure that under the old blood there's not actually some fresh blood. And as she's certain of that, she's gonna tuck Regina in safely.
Reggie just seems to be out through the whole thing. I mean, she barely moves. She's breathing very, very softly, and probably only murmurs every now and then, but she will actually kind of grimace anytime that Lily touches what looks to be like the grapple marks on her. She actually very, very visibly cringes and kind of tightens up into a fetal position when she does touch them.
Fuck, what happened? What did she say? Budapest? Huh. Guess they won't live for long. Lily is, she's really upset, although she tries not to freak out, because if she would start screaming and yelling, that would not just set the tigers off. So instead, she will make herself comfortable against the wall and just holds Regina as she is gonna stand guard, or sort of something like that, for as long as Regina will need to wake up.
It's probably going to be a good 10 hours. The circles underneath her eyes were almost looked like bruises at that point. She'd been awake for so long, and if she was paying attention, the shoes looked like they're worn down to almost the rubber binding. She looks filthy. She looks more like a vagrant. She probably doesn't smell that pleasant either at the moment.
Did you ever see Lily caring about smells? Or appearance, for that matter?
No. But,
I'm just saying.
Birds of a feather, I guess.
I guess.
But yeah, she'll be out, and it'll be pretty much from sundown to well into sunup before she even stirs slightly to start waking up.
I guess in that case I will have to make a stamina check to see if I am capable of staying awake, as I have probably been at least the previous night and maybe even the night before awake due to circumstances. Stupid changelings. I'll add my
See, Sarah, your venue does all sorts of harm to everybody.
Evil changelings! Okay, yeah.
Hot damn.
Oh yeah. Lily is plotting and planning murder on whoever did this throughout the night.
And I think there we can call it scene.
Yep.